And hello, everybody. This is Smoking in G Sharp on Lisa Hauserman's channel, Alternative Possibilities with Lisa. How are you doing,
Well,
Lisa?
oh, I'm okay, but actually it's our shared channel, but I'm in charge of it, unfortunately, because I'm lounging on a bag and I can't really control a lot, so I should have had you do this. But nonetheless, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on a Tuesday evening at 7:30, recording Eastern Time.
Ooh, there's a lot of gematria in that.
Mm, there's a lot of gematria and everything I've found. At any
Yeah.
rate, here we are, and we have made a decision, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start doing this every Tuesday at some point in the day,
Yeah.
because that way I'm more disciplined about it, like I am with my Sunday shows. And, because we put it off, or I do, let's go, we have to get together again. But, well, this time, this way it'll be, we are getting together again, no matter what.
Yeah. And it's great for me also because it prompts me to, investigate and find things and get ready. I'm one of
Right.
those. I'm an
She's totally,
OCDer.
absolutely. I'm not tonight because I took the night off from the OCD only because I don't really have a topic. I'm so uncomfortable. I have a bad back, for those who don't know, and it's been flaring up for about a week. But I just can't flip around and do this and upload that and share a screen. I just want to lounge and, quite frankly, kind of bitch.
Yeah,
I'd like to complain tonight.
absolutely. I'll let you roll, and I'll just pop on in with my usual weird stuff here and there.
Okay, it's just society around me really blows me away, ladies and gentlemen. For those who don't know, I call what's going on in this world the alleged pandemic, because I don't see any evidence that we're having one other than a media driven freak show that's been going on for a year. And of course, I have my reasons, not just based on gut feelings and so forth and so on. Basically, the study of germ theory and alternative this and that and the other thing, hence the name of the channel, Alternative Possibilities. So I'm at the store the other day. Life totally changed because of this ridiculous alleged situation that's unfolding, and that I used to work from home. I had a weekly column that I wrote for 14 years. I sold advertising for this little paper, designed the ads, whatever. And now I'm doing, 27 things. But one of the 27 things I'm doing is something I really enjoy, and it's working at a little gift shop boutique repurpose store. She's extremely creative and, of course, can recreate or like repurpose. I can't think of anything offhand as I'm staring at something. She can take a door and put a drawer on it and put old table legs on it and mix and match and really recycle things. And I think that's appealing to a lot of people. I know it is me. So I'm down at work and I'm in the back because I do my painting on these little jars back there. When suddenly I hear somebody in the front of the house, like whipping the door open, yelling, "Hello, hello." And I always get out there quickly anyway, because she has a rule that she wants you to greet the people before they step off the rug, and, which is good. So I'm flying out there wondering, some sort of accident or what's going on. And it's this crazed lunatic woman asking me, I need to know how to get to Conneaut Lake High School because I've got to get my shot. And I'm only have 15 minutes to get there. Well, first of all, it's not Conneaut Lake High School anymore. It's the middle school. It's like a half a mile from where we were talking, maybe a mile. And she was just flipped out. And so I went over to the door and I'm telling her how to get there. And she's like almost walking down the street as I'm giving her the directions. The woman could have walked there almost in 15 minutes, not really. But it's just this rush to get this experimental. I mean, anybody who's taking it is literally, and I'm not being figurative, I'm sure, taking part in a trial, a total trial. By their own literature, they've told people this. And it's not even what most people what anybody used to define as the VAXX word. It's something else entirely different, like gene therapy. And it just occurred to me. I see these people coming in their damn costumes all the time, or walking down the street wearing one. Old people that can barely breathe or maneuver with their faces covered. And it's just driving me crazy. And that's all I have to say. Take it away, Rosenthal.
I'm totally there with you. I'm on the other side of the country in Cray Crayville. Same thing, Lisa. It's like people are doing really odd behaviors. And I talked about this last night I came across a channel that was describing, I'm sure you probably, I think it was quantum consciousness. He's really a great guy on this stuff. Um, where our perception generates our behaviors. And when we are raised in society to judge people by, okay, that guy is doing a normal behavior that doesn't scare me, so I don't have to run out of the room, you know, um, now it's like our switches are being flipped because I can't gauge people, for one, behind a mask. I don't know. I have no idea where they're at in life. And most of these people who wear the mask not only are germophobic and kind of avoid you, they don't even give you eye contact. It's like, I don't want to know you're there. And I ponder, it's like, where did we pick up all of this phobia as a society as a whole, not as individually? Something went wrong. Something went wrong in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and aughts. Something is totally not right because these people are going with a, no joke, a B-rated science fiction movie narrative, with bad costuming and not doesn't have what they call the continuity that you would look for in a good movie. It's just all choppy. I mean, it is. It's like I got stuck in a B-rated sci-fi movie. That's how I feel, and I can't gauge anybody. I can't. What is it? Form my perception to create my behavior. I'm off kilter.
I totally get what you're saying, and I watched most of that. We call him Matt from across the state. I call him that because he lives across the state from me. The quantum guy or what have you. Wait, I have to clear my throat. What am I at?
Yeah,
And
he's a.
his go ahead.
I was just going to promote him again. We'll get his channel probably in the description, hopefully
Yeah, his
today.
his video was really good, and I don't necessarily land everywhere he does with everything he talks about, but with this particular situation that's been going on, he's done some really good videos. He's tried to explain it to what a lot of people call normies, and has taken great strides to educate people that do not look at the alternative possibilities like we do. But you were saying about where do we get this perception or whatever. It's funny because I was driving around today in Edna and running some errands, and I just got so violently mad because watching people all in the costumes, I ran into maybe two people that didn't have them, and just a lot of them know it's BS, but they still go along with it and all. And so I'm trying to think, what is going on? Why are we like this? And it's basically when you're little and you're not in school yet or what have you, you have a total freedom, or as free as you can be, I think, in terms of creativity and imagination and all that. And then you start into the public school system where you are taught to accept authority. Actually, you're taught to accept the authority of your parents, which you do need to have that a little bit. You can't be running out in the highway or something. You know what I mean? You have to at least, listen to what they say for your own safety for the most part. But yeah, it's just this accepting of authority and not questioning it. And, we're all raised to think that the United States is the greatest country in the world, never did anything wrong. And then when you get older, you look into it, or I did, and came to realize that that's complete bollocks, as they say across the pond. We're not the greatest. We've done horrible things in my name and with my tax money, have
Mhm.
really committed genocide across the globe or around the realm or whatever you want to say. And and then this whole germ theory fits in too, because you're trusting the authority of these white lab coat wearing gods known as doctors, and they're all in a weird paradigm anyway. Like,
Yes.
I was talking with someone today, and he's like, "Well, I'm not a virologist," and I said, "Well, it's a good thing you're not, because your whole education would have been built on a faulty foundation."
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's okay.
But see, you brought up the childhood, and I was reflecting on my own as you were talking, and it's true. Not only were we, obviously indoctrinated into following the yellow brick line, and all of that, but also our independent thinking was squelched. I remember in different classes, either me or that other odd kid would say, "Hey, how about if it was like this?" And it was to them far-fetched enough for them to laugh at me, you know. But ha ha ha, nowadays my far-fetched ideas are closer to the truth than their constricted follow the 1850s thinking, because that's where we all come from. I just want to stress that again too, Lisa. We are coming from the 1850s in our
I know, it's
education.
unreal.
It's that
Yeah,
unreal.
and our science and
Everything.
the whole 9 yards, and it's like what really blows my mind is people who I know in real life who were hippies and they were anti-establishment and they marched against Vietnam and they were leery of the man and they, couldn't trust the government, didn't like the government, whatever, recognized things for what they really were. And they're the ones now clutching pearls, wearing 12 masks and running off to get a vaccine that, for a disease that by their own paperwork, their own admission, their own literature online, has, I believe it's 99.8% survivability. And it just blows my mind. My mind is blown. Every day I talk to myself or the cats about how blown away I am over this whole effing situation.
Yeah, and I think the biggest shocker for me is, like I said, how many people have gone along with this narrative, and just, I mean, they live it, no pun intended, breathe it. I mean, it's just amazing, and the crazy, like I said, the perceptions are shifting. Their perceptions have shifted to where I'm a walking germ.
Yeah.
My perception has shifted to you're a walking idiot, and these are both negative thoughts as we're passing each other. And that's where I get into where right now, I'm trying to be patient and gauge my perceptions, but there may be a day when people will start, like I said, becoming more aggressive physically. Their behaviors will start. Well, they
Oh,
already are.
I think that already has happened. Yeah.
It has subtly in a covert way, but I mean actual physical, like, people, you're not thinking the way I am, so I'm going to run over there and beat you up and put my knife in you, or whatever they're thinking.
I know exactly. Well, I noticed a change. I'm sorry, the cat's laying on me and I'm on this rice bag and it's hot. Yeah, if you remember last year about this time, right around now, a little bit, maybe a week into the year or into this month, I just was blown away. And every day I couldn't get over it. And I would come on and do a video and I noticed how the language even changed. Like you would go to the store and purchase something, and rather than say, "Oh, have a good day," which I always hated anyway of that saying, but whatever, it was stay safe. Everything was stay safe, blah blah blah. Like it just everything changed. The language, the terminology they use for staying 6 feet apart, uh, all of this based on absolute nonsense.
It is. In just a year, the things that I've seen on TV where what they've done to classrooms, they've isolated these kids in these little booths. If you've seen that video, little.
I've seen a lot of the school stuff, and I think I sent you a note yesterday on Hangouts where I said I was fixing to cry because of what I saw on the paper.
It's like, why bother? Oh, you just want to blow some taxpayer money and give the plastics manufacturers a lot of dough, because that's all that happened here. Because I guarantee you, a third of those parents are going to get fed up with that really soon when their kid comes home and says, "Well, I'm sitting in this little fishbowl and I'm trying to hear the teacher, and the kid next to me, he's etching his initials into the plastic, and I mean."
Yes, and plus everybody's all wearing the costume, and you can't understand people. It's a real hindrance. I look at people's mouths when I talk to them. I always have, and so not that I'm hard of hearing, but I just always have, and it does help me to understand a little bit. Maybe I do have a slight hearing loss. I am kind of loud.
Well, as humans, we partially communicate through our facial expressions. I can tell when someone says, "Have a nice day, ma'am," and they're genuinely smiling at me, or they're saying it sarcastically, just by the way their face is positioned. I'm just giving for
That's
example.
right. But of course, nowadays they'd be saying, "Stay safe, madam."
Right, but still, what I'm saying, physically.
Yes, I'm just being
we
smart.
gauge. We do. We also subconsciously gauge by the body. You don't realize it when you're looking at someone, but how they're holding their body is already telling you a lot before even a word comes out of their mouth. that kind of thing. It's like, yes, we're being isolated away from a form of communication. And I think that is the bottom line here. This is where I've been going for a while. I think those whomevers, I label them who and where and what they are desperate. I see and smell desperation this last year, and I sit back and I'm going, why? Oh, are things falling apart? And in order for them to hold on any semblance of control, they have to take it more away from us. And the biggest thing is communication.
Yeah. I think that they are losing it too. I think, for example, I am of the opinion, and I could be wrong, clearly, that not everybody is clamoring for this vaccine, even though I started off talking about it. Um, I think that the media is making it sound like more people want it than do want it.
Of course. That's all I
So,
have to say. Yes, I mean, absolutely. For decades, they. Oh, you really want their commercials.
yeah,
Broadcast TV is nothing but one big commercial. It's
for
always
pharma, big pharma.
it's always selling you something from day one, 1952, from the first broadcast to today. We are being sold something. Nothing's
Yeah.
for free. Nothing.
I was explaining to my brother today before he left that, the fact that the medical schools are run by by the industry, like the industry, the pharmaceutical company. They're the ones who create the medical schools, or found them or whatever. That's where you go learn about medicine, Western medicine.
Yeah.
And how, of course, the television, all you have to do, any dummy can do this. You don't have to be brilliant. You go and turn the TV on, which mistake number one. But anyhow, and watch for 1 hour and see how many commercials for allergy medicine or this, or tell your doctor that if you have this side effect, you might die, or, it's unreal. It's
I know.
so, there's nothing really hidden.
No. Well, and for years I've been claiming I'm a political atheist because I truly see the one side, I won't name them, you'll guess, is total military industrial complex has been cemented in their little mafia since the 20s or something, 1913, let's go back there. And the other party caught up by cementing themselves as drug dealers, legal and illegal. And yes, that party runs most of the media and pushes pharmaceutical pills from, again, an 1850s set of theories.
Exactly. I'm so glad you keep bringing up the 1850s, because people just don't realize. And look, Pasteur, as you well know, was debunked not only in his own day, but every decade since.
Yes.
And it's easy to find. That's why I say nothing is really that hidden from us.
No. And when his grandson released a lot of his journals in the 90s, I believe, forgive me if I'm off, it might be 80s, but I think it was the 90s, they found a lot of proof on how fraudulent this man was. He was copying down other people's ideas, turning the words around a little bit and selling them as his own because he could get away with it because he had a name.
Yeah, and he was the establishment. He was part of he was backed by the establishment.
Right, exactly. They promoted him to be the snake oil salesman, so to
the
speak.
Bill Gates of our day.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Oh my gosh. That is a great comparison.
Well, thank you. They've compared the Gates family to the Rockefellers, and that, if you recall, John D, was he the oldest one? Whatever. He had a terrible reputation, was hated, and blah, blah, blah. And then they kind of had to redo his image, like in the style of what's the guy, Bernays, is that his name? Edward Bernays. Is he the father of the propaganda? Whatever. But they had like an agency come in. I don't think it was really an agency, but they did come up with an idea of how to give the Rockefellers a better name through this philanthropical means. And that's the same kind of template, I guess you'd say, that the Gates follows. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of people on YouTube did comparisons of the two. It was really eye-opening.
Pardon
my language. Pardon my butchering of the language right now. I'm in
No, but
pain and I feel delirious.
no, you're absolutely right. What they've learned, Lisa, is how to put lipstick on a pig. And that's what they've been selling us all these decades. Oh, yeah, that guy, I know he's a little shady, but here, let's get some lipstick on him. He's helped us. He's built a huge building for somebody or whatever. I mean,
Exactly right. And this, I swear to you, I think that he gets, remember how he used the word titillated? He was titillated or titillating or whatever whenever he heard anti vaccine people or something like that. Well, I think that he actually gets some sort of sexual charge, if you will. Every time he says the word vaccine, that's how he says it, vaccine. It's just, he drives me to drink. I've never, in my life, I have never seen such adoration of a product that can do no harm. It's absolutely beautiful. It won't hurt you. You must have it. There's not a thing wrong with it. Everyone agrees. Run off to that high school, and which is really the middle school, and take your little polka dot, as you've called it before. Yeah. It's
yeah.
just that there's nothing. I mean, like Consumer Reports or anybody, are they going to come out on this? It's just crazy. I've never seen a product this.
I just want to step in here and just remind people of a few things while they're selling this perfect product. Remember, they used to have radioactive toothpaste, and they used to have a fluoroscope, which was an x-ray machine for your shoe store salesman to give you the perfect fit. And they also put red dye number 5 in M&Ms. And can I go on and on? I mean,
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought
every
up the shoe store.
yes, every decade, if you study, will have products that came out and then they went, oops, that's giving you cancer. We'll just take it off the market in 5 or 10 years. You'll forget about it.
How
And
about
we
the
do.
Pinto car, the Pinto
Oh,
vehicle?
yeah. Oh, vehicles. I mean, you can just name it. Just there's all these things that they came out with that turned out to be very detrimental to our health. And back in the day, they didn't sue like they do now, but they certainly got the lawyers to tuck everything under the rug. You name the fluoroscope to people today, they go, what? Yeah, they did a great job of burying that one. That killed hundreds of thousands of basically shoe store salesmen because they were exposed to the radiation every day,
Yeah,
taking x-rays of people's feet.
unreal. I mean, and didn't they used to, in medicine or whatever you would call it back then, didn't they used to put leeches on you to like kind of, or drain your blood or do something like
Mhm.
the bloodletting or something?
Oh, the medieval ages. Yeah, absolutely. It was a common practice to take the blood out of you. Okay. Yeah, I
It's
mean, just these
unreal.
ludicrous ideas. And but yeah, even just in the 19th or they call it the 20th century, I think that it confuses me. The 1900s is what I'm talking about, people. God.
Right. Well, here's how I remember. I'll tell you quickly and then take off. Like
Sure.
if they say the 20th century, you just subtract 1 from 20th and 19. So anything that starts with the 19 is in the 20th century. And if you're talking about the 19th century, 19 minus 1 is 18. 18th century. Get it? 1892, but 19th century. Okay, bye.
But why? Okay, anyway, in our last century, just like I said, alone, with modern science, ooh, they came in and told us that we could do all of these things that just turned out to not be very, very. Oh, another one, Teflon, the original Teflon pans that we were cooking on. They
Oh
found
my
out.
God. DuPont or something, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Our guts are coated with that, I'm sure by now. I mean, just asbestos. Let's put it all over our houses.
Used to launch pencils into them at in the ceiling of the high school, and they'd stick really well from that.
Yeah. But yeah, we're kids in high schools breathing this asbestos that, let's just build things with it. And then they found that. Oh, and what was the other? I mean, there's just tons of stuff with building materials.
Lead paint, because
Oh,
Joel,
yeah.
when if he does a house that has lead paint and he has to take the lead paint off, there's a special thing you got to do and a permit and a whatnot and practically tenting the whole thing. It's crazy.
It is. Yes. And with asbestos, same thing. Yes. Lead paint was just a brilliant idea. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to show people that they will always have some snake in oil for you, or whatever you want to call it. And a lot of times these things are not good for us, or they're not built well. You know, cell phones, and another grand example. I hate to tell you and remind you, but those little batteries in them emit all kinds of bad stuff into your head.
Right, exactly. Well, what just really blows me away, G Sharp, on a closing note, maybe,
Sure.
is that people, getting back to the costume for a minute, mother and I were talking today, and she said she does not wear a mask, and she went to the post office, and some older gentleman was holding the door for her. He was wearing one, but he turned to her and said, "Isn't this whole thing ridiculous?" And she said, yes, indeed it is. Now, he should have just taken his off right there. But anyhow, I said, don't people, they just don't think that you can't breathe in them. And mother looked at me and said, anybody with a brain should realize that putting something over your face makes it harder to breathe. And this very basic thing that I just said there will get me tons of hatred for saying it. It's
Yep.
unfucking believable. Yes, I said fuck. I apologize.
No, I'm glad you did. It's very worthy of this situation. Well, I mean, we've said this over and over again. It's becoming, very repetitious, but we are indeed in an inverted, upside down world. And that's and when people stop going down that road and saying, wait a minute, this is not natural, this makes no sense. We've lived through a lot before, and this little virus that doesn't seem to kill a lot of people, but boy, it sure takes out businesses. It's the
Yeah.
biggest business virus I have ever witnessed.
I have to say, Matt across the state made me crack up today because he was saying something that's absolutely true. That if they came out and said that this thing like really prefers a height of 5 feet, and could you stoop down a little bit low to like get your vegetables and things at the store, they would literally move things to lower shelves and have people squatting down below 5 feet, and they would do it. They would do it. And anybody sitting there right now saying, oh, you're crazy, Lisa, people wouldn't go, that would be going too far. I don't think so. People are all too happy to put on 12 masks now because Dr. Fallacy said so. Okay, I'm really getting wound up, so I'll just let you take it away.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to end it with an experience that my partner had. She had to go into a physical therapy kind of thing for herself. And she said, of course, when you walked in, you have to be masked up. And they have you stand now next to a wall that takes your temperature. And then after that, they ask you a series of questions, and then you can go on your merry way to your appointment. I found that it's interesting that they now have these walls coming out so quickly. Wow, that's an innovation. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when we've had trauma in a society before, let's just use the Tylenol poisoning. Do you remember that? Up in Seattle, people were buying Tylenol.
I do,
And
yes.
they took it home and they died because it was poisoned. It wasn't 3 months later, almost every pharmaceutical company had tamper-proof lids and packaging. And someone pointed out how magnificent that 3 months rollout to take care of a problem. And so ever since I heard that, I'm looking at what they're doing today. And all of a sudden, they just got these miraculous rollouts. I think they've been sitting on this stuff for years. And I think half of what's going on today is a money-making scam.
Not only, but power, and of course, the Great Reset, which people, you mentioned that, they think you're nutty and from another planet.
Well, they can think that, but when it's tiptoeing, but when it comes into place, they're going to look back and say, oh, those people that were talking about how I couldn't have cash on hand anymore. It's all on
Yeah.
a card.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
It's just, even when it comes true, though, people still don't acknowledge the efforts of the conspiracy theorists. Damn it, it's making me mad.
there's always going to be those, at least there's always going to be the people that just really never get it. They somehow are either physically, I'm going to say at times, locked in to the matrix, for lack of better words, or they willingly want to stay in the matrix. Remember that one? Maybe if you didn't see the movies,
I didn't know, but I know a lot about it.
Yeah, there was one character. He was a turncoat. He was a spy on The Good Guys with Neo. And he said, all I want you to do is put me back in the Matrix so I can taste a steak again. And that's these people that they willingly like to stay in la la fairyland. It's more comfortable for them.
It is totally. I mean, it's what's it called? Coincidence theorists. They're driving me crazy. Look, I try to go back and picture what I think has happened now. It's to the point, it's such a huge, huge scam, hoax. I don't know what you want to call it from the get go. That it's, I mean, now they have all these different variants and all. It's so out of control, phony that when, and it provably so, it can be proven, ladies and gentlemen, that people can't realize, like the normie can't picture that big of a hoax being played on a society. And I think you lose people at this point because it's just, does that make any sense? I don't know if I'm imparting this correctly, but it's just right. What was the one German, I don't know if it was Hitler or one of his men, something about the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it.
The more they'll believe it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah, it is so true. And it's hard for us to sit back and have to witness that. That's where I'm at right now. It's a hard seat to be sitting in.
It really is. And I can't, you know what really bothers me too, I was thinking today, is willful ignorance. It has always bothered me when people are willfully ignorant. I understand legitimate ignorance of not knowing something, but when you've been presented with a plethora of information over years and you're willfully, you won't even look at it or entertain the thought that you could be wrong about something, that bothers me deeply, more than somebody who's literally not in the know. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it goes back to that. They're the people who want to stay in the Matrix and eat the steak. They don't want to leave, Lisa, and you'll never, even if you make the most complete sense, they won't buy it. They won't listen to it because it goes against their little comfy pillow life.
That's exactly right. That might be a good place for me to end it because I might say too much here and get in trouble. But
okay.
Anyhow, I guess I'll say a little closing and all that jazz. Thank you for listening to us tonight here on Alternative Possibilities. Next time I'll show my delightful face, but I am kind of uncomfortable and sort of on a bag of rice right now. Thank you, G Sharp, for letting me get this off my chest. And please leave us a wonderful comment. And thanks again for watching. G Sharp, take it away.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Lisa. I love this. I absolutely love this. And of course, stay frosty.